department for putting this together for all of us. Some of you may or may not know me. My name is Luke Miller. I'm a senior sport management major with a minor in business. I have the privilege of being your master of ceremonies for the duration of the conference, so you gotta get used to seeing my face. Just a couple announcements just to make before we get started. Just wanted to tell everybody to make sure to download. We have a sport management conference app. It's called FSU Sport Management. You can see all the list of speakers as well as anybody that's coming here to the internship fair. So also the name tag you have, make sure to bring that tomorrow. So on the back of it, that red ticket is what's going to get you lunch tomorrow. So very important. And then make sure on the front too, there's that barcode as well. So it's pretty neat this year. So what we're going to do is when you go into the internship fair, each one of the people there in the internship fair is going to have a scanner where they can scan that and immediately see all the information you uploaded, such as like when you wanted the internship, what your name is, and everything like that. So we're getting really technological savvy. And so tonight we have a very special guest here. Bill Guertin is recognized in the sport industry as one of the top sales consultants and sales training authorities in North America. He is CEO, or Chief Enthusiasm Officer as he likes to put it, of the 800-pound gorilla, providing sales and marketing consulting for companies of all kinds. His sport-specific sales training subsidiary, Stadium Gorilla, has worked with over 80 individual pro teams in the major and minor leagues to improve their ticket sales rep performance and crush their sales goals. Bill's sales programs are in use at the Boston Red Sox, San Francisco Giants, Carolina Panthers, Houston Texans, Calgary Flames, Orlando City SC, Chicago Bulls, and Golden State Warriors, among many others. He is also working with all 19 soccer teams in Mexico's Premier Division, Liga MX, to professionalize the ticket sales and customer service process throughout the league. He is the author of 2 books on sales and service, and he is thrilled to be a part of the program here at Florida State. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 800-pound gorilla, Mr. Bill Guertin.
Boy, I feel like I'm stuck here. I like to wander around a lot, so I'm going to ask, well, probably for the, never mind, we're being filmed, so I want to be sure to get this right. Okay, so we have the little clicker, that's good. How many of you have had a chance to see any things that I have done, or any like webinars, or any kind of special things? Anybody been in any training sessions I've done? Wow. Nobody. It's a fresh audience. This is awesome. All right, well, this is a kind of a superstitious thing that I do, so I need everyone to participate in this. I need you to stand up, please, if you would. I know. We can stretch at least, right? All right, very good. All right, please raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I state your name. A few people saw the movie. Good. Do hereby promise. To tell at least 3 people. And to tweet at least 3 times. What we're about to do here today. Please turn and pinky swear with your neighbor. Come on, who's never done this before? Get out! All right, very good. Put your index finger up. Sign your names in the air. No pair switching your left hand. I saw that. All right, you are officially sworn in. You may sit down. Wow. Okay. Excellent. You're going to need for today what is known traditionally as a GCP, and that would be known as a geographically convenient partner. So you need to find somebody next to you, perhaps somebody that you don't know all that well, if you want to switch seats around, maybe somebody you don't know well, who you will experience this whole presentation with. So find that person right now, take 31 seconds, get to know them, go. 31. Works pretty well. Excellent. So now that you have somebody, and if you had to put 3 in, then that's okay. It's not going to be a big deal. But I do know that many of you have had some experience with each other. I really hope you have a chance, and this is the biggest part of today, is to network with people. Gang, this is one of the tenets of doing well, and regardless of what you want to do with your careers, you have to be able to meet people and see them and look them in the eye, and I'm sure you've had all that training already, but please just let me remind you of that and how important it is today. 86,400. Please silence your phones. 86,400 seconds in a day. That's what we get. We all get the same number. Most of them are kind of ordinary, normal, mundane moments. You've had several hundred moments in this room already. Most of them really aren't very meaningful. They're not very important. What makes one moment different from all the rest? Gang, it's the decisions we make and the quality of the actions that we take within those moments that determine the quality of our life experience. You miss a moment that was destined for you and it's gone forever, gang. Take action and it's yours for a lifetime. The challenge I would pose to each of you is, what are you doing with those 86,400 seconds? Every one of the people in this room would call themselves successful in the business of sports. If there are some in there that are here, professors, people within the sports industry would say that they have a few of those in their lives already. They had that moment or two, or even more, that they can say were kind of the difference makers, that watershed moment, that chance that they had, that they stepped forward and took action rather than just sat on the sidelines. You've got your opportunity here today, gang, to be able to step forward. There are going to be 3 important moments in your sports career, and that's what I came to talk to you about today. 3 moments that will determine your altitude and your velocity in this business. And I'm honored today to reveal them to you, to set your mind toward achieving them and watching them grow. But I want to start by maybe illustrating this in another way. Many of you had received coasters. Did anybody have those? Everybody hold up your coaster. They have. Okay. For those that don't have one, you can still play. Okay? But here's what we're going to do with those. Many of the conversations, those watershed moments they have in their lives, take place over places like bars. Would you all agree with that? Some of the very best networking you will ever do in your life will be in 2 places: bars and conference room hallways. Please take note of that. But we're really going to use that coaster right now for just a very special moment, because you're about to meet someone at the place that we're going tonight. Madison, is that right? Okay, at the Madison Social. I'm going to transport you 2 hours ahead. And you are there at the bar with someone that you discover is in the sports industry. Well, look at that. I just happen to be looking for a job in the sports industry. And you get to chatting back and forth, and the person you're talking to kind of has I wouldn't say it's an attitude, but it's like they're testing you. You ever had one of those conversations where they're just kind of asking you things and they want to see what you're made of, right? Well, you have this opportunity. And it can be male or female, just someone in the industry that you have a chance to connect with. And here's what they've chosen to ask you. They say, oh, so you want to work in sports, huh? That's great. So they take the coaster and they give it to you. And they say, write on the back of this for a moment. Here's a pen. What's the big goal you want to achieve in sports? What's the one big goal that you want to achieve? What would you write on that coaster? In fact, I'm going to ask you to take 30 seconds right now. Those who have them, write it down on the white back of that coaster. What is the big goal that you want to achieve in sports? What is it? Write it down. This is your test at the bar. For those of you that are under 21, pretend with me. What would you write? What's the big goal that you want to achieve in sports? What would you write down? Don't leave it blank. This is your chance. This is your moment. This is the opportunity you have to talk to that big person that could bring you where you need to be. What will you say? What will you say? Take a moment. Share with your partner what it is you wrote down. Take a minute and do that right now. All right. I'm going to come back to those in a few moments. So hang on to those, because I will ask a few of you to let me know what you wrote. There are 3 moments, 3 opportunities in your sports career that you may have already experienced, perhaps. Certainly this first one may have happened already to you. Here's the first. Moment number 1 in your sports career is the moment you realize what your heart is calling you to do. There's a real tangible moment in the life of every sports business professional. There was a moment that they knew what they wanted to do. It may not have been super clear as to what the outcome would be, but the direction was unmistakable. You know, for me, I know what I wanted to do in sports, and it was 12 years ago. I can remember the day, I can remember exactly where I was, because I was a radio sales executive, kind of floundering around from year to year, kind of doing the same thing year in and year out. And for those who are familiar with how radio stations work, I was the sales manager for the advertising department of the station. It's not where I intended to be at that point in my life. I started out, I was the youngest licensed radio broadcaster in the state of Illinois at 16. That was kind of my destiny. Did you hear the voice? It's kind of the radio voice, right? So I kind of had that going. I had that God-given gift, and I thought, man, this is where I needed to be. And so I went up to the Dirksen Federal Building in Chicago, and 4 of my buddies and I, we drove the hour from this little bitty town called Kankakee, and our parents should never have let us go, because I think the one who drove only had his license for 2 or 3 weeks. And so there we were, parking downtown. We all went up, because you had to have a 3rd-class radio operator's license to be on the air at that time. And so I got the license with all of them. We all passed. We all studied on the way up. Like you've never done that before. And I was the only one to ever use the license. But at 18, I was doing morning drive. And so that was kind of my destiny, until I figured out where the money was at 21, and it wasn't on the air. It was in the sales department. And I fell in love with helping others achieve what they needed to achieve with radio, and stayed there for a good long time. But the challenge was, radio was becoming less relevant to people's lives. And this was a dozen years ago, and this is about when the iPod first came out. And I was looking for something different, and so I wanted to be a speaker, so I wanted to try to do some speaking things. And so I was trying my hand at customer service seminars and little sales seminars and team building kinds of things. The same things I was doing as the sales manager of the radio station. But I was just doing it for other companies. And so I was in Matson, Illinois, working for the people at the Chamber of Commerce. They wanted all their people, their business owners, to be nice to people when everybody came up to see the US Open, which happened to be right there in Olympia Fields that year. And after I was done, the guy came up to me at the end, which is common, which I really enjoy, which is great, which is a really good sign when you have that happen. And the gentleman came up, and he was wearing a White Sox jacket. And I thought, wow, it's a White Sox fan. Well, it wasn't just a fan. It was Tom Sheridan. Tom is the director of ticket sales for the Chicago White Sox. And to this day, I have no idea why he was there. But he came up and he said, hey, he said, Bill, you really did a great job here. He said, we need a guy with that kind of enthusiasm to train our ticket salespeople. In fact, you know, there are like a few people around the country that travel and they do this for other sports teams. I don't know if you knew that, but I think we'd like to talk about maybe having you at our place. That was the moment. I had no idea. I had no idea anyone could do that sort of thing. There was a niche, there was a place for someone in sports to be able to do that sort of thing. Well, I put that on a list that I had made for myself just 6 months prior to that. I wanted to be a published author. I wanted to be working in sports. I wanted to be a speaker and a trainer and all these things that I wanted to do. And sometimes when you write things down, the answers just magically appear that wouldn't have appeared otherwise. And that's what happened. And so I gladly accepted Tom's card. I mean, I could almost hear the angels from above as I took the card with both hands, thinking, this is my ticket. And then I called him back a week later, which is what you do, and left a message. And then I called back again another week, left a message. 6, 7, 8 times left a message. Anybody been there? People in sports are the worst at getting back to other people. You just need to know that, okay? And I only tell you that because persistence wins. And there will be a lot of people in the room that will tell you that, and I am proof positive once again that it works, because finally it did work, but it didn't work the way I'd thought. Because I got a call from a counterpart to Tom's who happened to work not for the White Sox, but for the Chicago Bulls. For those who know Chicago sports, you know that one gentleman, Jerry Reinsdorf, actually owns both the teams, and many of their departments talk to one another. And the gentleman said, hey, Tom tells me that you've got some good energy and you do some sales training, and we're kind of looking for a new guy. We do this 3-day sales training thing for all our new recruits in July. Would you want to put in a proposal for us? Here's another moment coming. One of the smartest things I ever said at the moment. I hesitated to say this, but I wanted to do it because it was necessary. Boy, I had a lump in my throat. I said, so, just so I'm clear, how much budget have you set aside to do this 3-day session? Anybody had to ask that before? And he shot me a number, and it was really low. But it was a start, right? So, without even hesitating, I said, you know, I think I could do that for that. You can? I said, yeah. It's okay, you're hired. And I hung up the phone and I said, holy crap, what do I do now? And you ever been in their position before? Gang, here's the deal. Jump and the net will appear. Okay? I took that chance thinking, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but man, am I going to work my butt off to try to get it. And so fortunately, I had a 3-month lead time to prepare. The Bulls were kind enough to give me some of the materials that they wanted to include in the training session, which was a really good thing. I put all of the things that I had learned as a sales manager for the radio station, which fortunately it has a very good parallel. Selling a radio ad is a lot like selling a sports ticket. About 80% of it is exactly the same. But it was something I could get excited about. And so the 3 days arrived. That very first day as I walked into the United Center, man, was I nervous. Whew. Moment number 2, gang, in your sports career is the moment you act on it. First you find out in your heart what it is, and then you actually do something. My first doing was taking Tom Sheridan's card. The second was going on a skinny branch and saying, yes, I can do that. And then not knowing exactly how I was going to get it done. Sometimes that's when we do our best work. Anybody do that? They do their best under pressure? So I showed up that day, walked past the Jordan statue. For those of you who've been there, I was in the house. In fact, the second floor building that we trained on was actually overlooking the Jordan statue. So during our breaks and the times in which we're doing this, I'm looking outside, and that never stops. There's always people coming in to look at the Jordan statue, buses of people, amazing, from all corners of the world, coming and all taking pictures in front of the Jordan statue. And here I was there, I was doing this with these guys. Scared to death. Man, I walked in, I had to stop, I had to like hold my knees from shaking. Got done with the 3 days, and there they are. My first class. We had some fun. I made sure of that, because that was my style. It's kind of my signature with that. In fact, they had so much fun, they said, why don't you come back? So I came back again. And by the way, you know, 2 years in a row, that's pretty good. Why don't you come back again? Oh, that's an interesting picture. Let's see, it didn't look like that on here. Let's see. There's another group there. Funny how digital stuff works. And I have been fortunate to be there for the last 11 years. And it will continue in 2017 as well, I'm very proud to say. Now, remember, I'm really proud of being there, so I couldn't help the gal. Could you please take some pictures, like in some of the spots for the Bulls? So I had her take some pictures. This is the entryway to the United Center. This is all the original Jordan memorabilia that is up there. I mean, it's like a museum when you walk into their entryway into where they are. That floor, the actual floor, is from the parquet from the old Chicago Stadium. And the seats are actually from the Chicago Stadium as well. And all that other stuff is authentic Jordan stuff. Here's me looking very regal, don't you think? Don't I look very general manager-like? And I look so young, too. Gosh. The table is under glass. It's an exact replica of the Bulls floor, which I think is really cool. And so here is the actual Bull from the floor at the Chicago Stadium before it was torn down. And here's just some more of the other memorabilia. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, by the way, if you're thinking, what happened to Tom Sheridan? Did you ever start working with him? Yeah, actually I did. Came through. In fact, their ticket sales were up 86% the 1 year I worked with them. For those who know history in baseball, yes, it was the year they won the World Series, but I'm sure I had something to do with that. We had a lot of fun. It was a year or two later, I was asked to be able to show what I do in an audition, a 1-hour audition that 3 sales trainers were granted with about 75 VPs of sales at the NBA who were gathering at the NBA job fair, which was done at that time. They don't do it today. But at that time, they actually had, just for the NBA, all the different teams actually had a job fair. And since all of the VPs were around, they said, let's audition these 3 guys. Anybody feel another moment coming on? Sometimes you don't know how important the moments are until after you've experienced them. You can't predict them, but you got to be ready. And I was ready. I was really pumped. I had a great presentation. I only did an hour, but I made the most of it. I brought 3 or 4 of the VPs who I had no idea who they were. I brought them up to do role play exercises with them. I mean, I did stuff nobody else was going to be like, oh, I can't believe he's doing that. And I did it. Because nobody was doing it. Nobody dared to do the kinds of stuff I was doing because they think I would tick off some people. Well, I wanted to go for the gusto, right? This is it. Go big or go home, right? And at that moment, after I was done, 5 or 6 teams that day came up to me and not only gave me their card, they said, do you have your calendar handy? We'd like to hire you now. That was the moment, gang. And here's moment number 3 that I'm going to ask each of you to internalize, because you may not get that until later on, and I hope you get it far sooner. Moment number 3 in your sports career is the moment you realize that everything is sales. Everything is sales. The real problem with that is some of you aren't necessarily real comfortable with that. Maybe you came from a family that thought salespeople were evil. You know, we got hosed by that sales guy that sold me that car, and all salespeople are horrible. And that's what you heard at home. And so you decided that all salespeople are bad, or somehow there was some stigma against that. Gosh, I wish your dad or mom wouldn't have said that. But here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that maybe, hopefully, there would be some ray of sunshine for you that might break through whatever was happening at home or however you've grown up, because I want to give you the simplest definition I can afford to give you today with regard to selling, just so you get it, okay? This is not an evil thing, gang. Sales is helping people get what they want so you can get what you want. Simple, plain, and true. If you can act with integrity, this is what it can be. The problem is the 1% of people who do this profession without integrity are the ones that mess it up for the rest of us. If you choose to take this lamp and run with it, please take integrity with you. Because it certainly can be done. Many, many others have. But there's some myths out there that I want to make sure that you understand. Now, you've all heard certainly of any believers in Bigfoot? Just making sure. People from Arkansas in the room? All right? I know you've seen him. I know it. I know you've seen him somewhere. I was camping one day and I know he was there. Any Loch Ness believers? Are you? Excellent. You and perhaps, well, certainly Ireland hopes it never, or is it Scotland that has Loch Ness, doesn't want to give up that tourism money. They keep bringing boats out. 80 years it's been, they have never seen him, but that's as close as we've come. UFOs, probably a few more believers, right? Okay. Yeah, thousands of those. Even if one is true, it's the biggest story in the history of the world. Right? But I want to clear up a myth about you, because a myth is a widely held belief based on popular repetition. You had them growing up. Remember, what happens when you sit in front of the TV too long, or too close? What does your mom tell you? What's that? Your eyes go bad, you go blind, right. What if you cross your eyes for too long? What will happen? They'll stay that way. If you swallow a watermelon seed, it will what? When you swallow gum, it'll stay there for? You can't go swimming for 30 minutes after you? My gosh, you had the same parents. The challenge we have is that when you hear something over and over again, you tend to believe it. Like all salespeople are bad. It's a lousy profession. Don't get messed up in it. You hear something enough, just like Squints up in the treehouse in the Sandlot, right? The beast is real. Flashlight. He ate 2 police officers. But once you get that, you have to understand that the reality about sports sales is this, and I'm here to clear this up for all of you who are in the room, because some of you are undecided. And I get that. Not all of you are big into selling. Some of you are thinking, no, this sales guy, I can't learn anything from him. I get that. But I want you to take this away, gang. Please take this away. We're not in the sports business when we're in sports sales. We're in the business of helping others achieve what they want and need through the power of professional or collegiate athletic events. That's what we do. Selling is not hawking things on the street corner. No, there's plenty of those at professional stadiums, believe me. Ike with the orange hat under the bridge has sold a lot of tickets to some unsuspecting people, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being integrity-based and dealing with people and finding out what it is they need first, and then applying the solution after you find out what it is they're looking for. There's some real value in that for both sides. I have to tell you, there's some people in the sales profession that absolutely love what they do, and they have hundreds of clients who love what they've been able to do for them. And it's amazing how many potential solutions we provide in the sports business. And when you look at a list like this, when someone is a season ticket owner or a partial plan owner, there are certain bragging rights or prestige that come along with that. Would you all agree with that? Maybe some of you had family that have season tickets or a partial plan of some sort. You brag them up, don't you? Even if you have season tickets tonight, or to FSU, you're thinking about the tailgating you're going to be doing on Saturday, right? I'm bringing that deer sausage. It's going to be good. And there's prestige associated with that. There are cost savings, certainly, with season tickets versus something that you might buy at the window. An escape from reality for many people. Some of it's big, big time with family. How many of you do that with your family? Love to attend sporting events. Some of the most memorable times you will ever have as a family will be experiencing sporting events together. Kevin Fertura, who runs the New York Giants sales effort, was involved in the changeover when New Meadowlands Stadium got built. And Kevin shared with me some of the stories that took place when the people came in to relocate their seats. For those of you who remember this, the Jersey people in the room, and you're very proud, I know. There was an enormous necessity to relocate every single seat. So they had to bring every single, over a period of I think 18 months, every single seat holder had to come down to this trailer where New Giant Stadium was being built, or New Meadowlands Stadium, sorry, you Jets fans, so that they could essentially pick out where their new seats would be in the new configuration, and of course what their new prices would be. But during that time, Kevin was privy to the most amazing stories of people whose families had been changed. Things had happened to them as a part of being there in the tailgate or at the games themselves. I mean, fathers had missed births of their kids because somebody, it was the playoffs. I couldn't go to the birth. I had to go see the playoff game. But the incredibly positive things where someone had proposed to someone else at this particular spot, and they lived life there. Gang, we don't just sell sports. It's far more than sports. And all of these things are what we provide. In fact, not only do we provide them, there are problems we help others avoid. For those of you who've ever been the victim of a ticket that didn't work at the front gate, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, there's never anything more soul-wrenching than finding out that somebody just paid $200 a piece for a ticket that doesn't work. We're getting better. Our systems are getting better at being able to stomp that out. But we help avoid that enormous problem, or paying too much for seats. We can help avoid employee turnover if a group outing is applied in the right way to help people feel as though they're more a part of the system, they're more a part of their company that they're with, or more part of their church group. We can eliminate much or all of the kind of turnover that companies and churches have seen. We just have to learn to apply them in the right way. All of these things, and I won't go through them all, but I just want you to understand the scope of what we're talking about. It's just not hawking tickets. Gang, we don't sell sports. We sell what happens to people as a result of a sporting event. It's not what happens on the field or the court or the pitch. It happens in the seats. To you. To the businessman that you choose to bring with you to feel good about, more about doing business with you, and ultimately perhaps signing a contract in the fourth quarter. It's about getting people together that don't talk very often, because sales doesn't talk to marketing, and marketing doesn't talk to IT, and IT doesn't talk to anybody. And so let's get them all together at the game, and maybe they'll just shed this political skin that they have to wear at work, and they'll get along. And that finally we'll have some communication, and we'll eliminate those million-dollar errors that have happened because people won't talk to one another in our own company. I'm not exaggerating. This is what we do. And I'm proud to say that many, many people that I've had the good fortune to work with are making solutions happen like this for companies, for churches, for organizations, for individuals all day long. And they're very proud to be able to do it. These are a couple of people I get to work with. This is actually the Boston Celtics. Yes, I put them in these clothes, okay? They don't work, they really work. This is kind of the cubicle situation that they have. Here's the guy that won the sales contest, so he gets to wear the big WWE belt because he made the first sale. Pretty cool. And there they are, the inside sales team. So again, we have a lot of fun with what we do. Here's the Milwaukee Bucks. These are the inside sales. In fact, the Bucks actually did their training in the locker room at the stadium. How cool is that? So pretty cool. The Golden State Warriors. We didn't get to get to the locker room of the Warriors, but they have their own training area for that. So it's great that we have that. The Bulls, we have a lot of fun with them. I do a lot of Jeopardy-style games as a review of what we do, and so these are the guys that do this. They reserve these helmets just for me when I come. I don't know, but they're 15 years old. They have Subway on the back of them. They've given out these really hard hat helmet things. That's the Bulls helmet, the horns there. There's nobody else that has them anymore. They've saved 3 of them for this Jeopardy game, and that's what they pull them out every year. We have fun with that. But we have a blast. I do minor league baseball, the Indianapolis Indians, one of the highest drawing minor league baseball organizations in the country. And they have a blast doing what they do. For those of you who have interest in Never 2 days being the same. If you're one of those people that has to have everything mixed up and you hate doing the same thing over and over and over again, minor league baseball. It's a great place to be. Indianapolis Indians all work hard, but boy, they have fun too. The Minnesota Wild. Had some fun with them not too long ago. Hockey is a little different. Baseball sometimes can be a grind. 81, 82 games a year. You can cut that in half if you work for the hockey leagues. Or for the NBA, for that matter. Soccer is at about 23 to 24 home games a year. This happens to be the National Sales Center, which is up in Blaine, Minnesota. Has anybody heard of this? Now, they train about 15 people each time to be able to go out and be hired by MLS teams. They kind of train them in sales the MLS way, make some calls for some teams, actually, as representative of the Houston Dynamo or Real Salt Lake. And they're selling packages to them, so it's a real-world experience kind of a thing. And yes, I am continuing to work with the Bulls. This is the latest photo of the Chicago Bulls. And now they have the Windy City Bulls, which is their new D-League franchise up in Hoffman Estates, which will start play in, maybe they started this week. Losing track of time. We kind of lost track of time because this week, this is where I was. This was in Dallas. Mark Cuban has staunchly said, we will not hire an outside training voice because that's what I hire my sales managers to do. I was the first guy in 17 years that has been actually asked to be within these walls. And it turned out to be a pretty good photo. It's kind of fun. So I want you to take a good look at this photo. In fact, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Any of you see yourselves being with a group of people like that? They look like they're having a good time, don't they? These guys work hard. Yeah, some of them may say you probably know this guy or two. I don't know. Maybe you know some people in there. But this is the kind of environment that the sales organizations of the world are producing. Do you see yourself in this sort of thing? 86,400. It's all the moments we get in a day. We've had a few thousand of them just pass since we've been here. What are you going to do with that 86,400 moments while you are here? Gang, the networking you're going to have an opportunity to do in the next 24 hours is unlike anything you may have had before ever. What are you going to do to take full advantage of that? Talk to your partner for a moment. What did you take away from this that you'll be able to apply today and tomorrow with the people you begin to talk to? Do that now. All right, 10 seconds. Thank you. So you all have your coasters still, right? Hold them up high. All right. So here's now that I've seen some of you with these coasters, I want to hear what you've got on. Our sports executive says to you, what's the big goal that you want to achieve in sports? What is it you want to say? So you want to go, man? Oh, you're the microphone guy. I thought you were like jumping right. Well, wait, before you give it to anybody else, where's your coaster? Oh, you didn't get one. So if you were to be asked, what do you suppose you'd write?
Oh man.
You could use your microphone.
I don't know. Honestly, like, I just want to get experience with as many people as I can, meeting as many people as I can. And put me on the spot like that.
That's what's going to happen in the next 24 hours, right?
True.
Okay, work on that. In fact, I'm sure there were a few others that might be able to give you a few pointers as we go. So, for those who have interest in doing this, I give away stuff. So if anybody has some interest in perhaps bringing a little something to the forefront here with your coaster, I will ask you, sir, right there? You got it right there? Great. Bring it up to the man in the middle there.
So I wrote impacting someone else's life because it's all about the people. So people make the difference in how you move up in the company that you work for. So impacting someone else's life.
Impact, and in what way? Because this person's going to press you a little bit. They're going to say, well, what do you mean by that?
Could be a mentor. Could be
No. Now, this is the big goal that you want to achieve in sports, is that you want to be a mentor for somebody else?
yes.
You win. That's yours. Very good. Nice job. Let's have another. Who's got another? By the way, those pens are really cool because when you click them, there are 6 different phrases that I use in my sales training that you can read along there. So you'll get a very unusual pen right there. Got right here? Go ahead.
Revitalize an organization.
Tell me more about that.
Well, we can use an example. I know a lot of people are trying to revitalize the Cleveland Browns, but come in and shape up everything and rebuild it from the ground up.
Okay, what does that mean, though? I get it. So that's the big goal that you have. But in what sense? What element are you going to rebuild? Because you're not Josh Gordon.
No, we're not. Get good leaders around you, and if you don't have good leaders, make good leaders.
In what departments?
All departments.
All departments. So you want to be the GM?
If that's possible, but it takes time.
Okay, well, so that is the ultimate goal for you.
The ultimate goal.
You want to make a difference. Where are you going to start to do that?
Whoever gives me the first opportunity to do that.
And where's that going to be?
We'll find out.
Do you have a favorite?
I would like the Buccaneers, but we'll see.
No. What department? Doesn't matter what
Department?
team. I just
Oh.
where?
Okay. That's a good question.
86,400.
Yeah. 86,400.
This is your chance.
Marketing.
Marketing. Why did you choose marketing? Wait. You don't think the person at the bar is going to go this deep with you? Just saying. Go. Why marketing?
Well, marketing is the same as sales, but you know.
Well, I'm not looking for sales. I just want to know why.
Yeah, it's where the income comes in.
It's where the money is?
Or player development. How about that? Player development.
Okay.
Player
Marketing or player. Well.
Player
Okay.
development is.
All right.
making
You're going
sure
to get the pen, but we need to be a little more specific. Okay. All right. Give it up for a night.
All right.
All right, great. Got one right there. So, man with the hair, what's the big goal you want to achieve in sports?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Darnell Jordan, and I basically want to establish and maintain a sports program that's successful on and off the field that facilitates inspiration outside of sports. And the reason why I say that is because I was watching NFL Network. I don't know if it was last night or the night before, but they were doing a presentation on the New York Jets and New York Giants when September 11th happened. And there was a fan of the New York Giants that said once September 11th happened the following week, neither one of the teams went to practice. He called into the front office of the Giants and told them that the reason he survived is because he went to the Giants game that was in San Francisco, so he wasn't in the trade center when it came down. So outside of sports, you can see how it inspires people who aren't necessarily athletic, but enjoy and love sports just as much as athletes.
How are you going to start to make a difference in that?
How do I start? Reaching out to the community.
In what position?
As well, my background is fitness,
Okay.
so I will start just making the community healthier.
right.
So once they become healthier, they'll be more active, and once they become more active, they'll
Okay.
feel like they want to participate with the with their sport team.
Got it. I mean, you're very articulate, and I appreciate that. I just want to have a direction for any of this. What do you want to achieve once you're out of here? What sports job do you want?
Well, the sport job that I want is strength and conditioning.
Okay, very good. And through strength and conditioning, either with a team or something else, that's the difference you hope to make.
Yes.
All right, give it up for him. Nice work. All right.
My name is Joey Galuppi. I put that to provide opportunities to the youth in the community.
Wait. You gotta slow down with me, man.
Oh, you're good.
Enunciate for everybody. Go ahead.
My name is Joey Galuppi. What I put down is that I wanted to provide opportunities to the youth in the community.
Cool. Which community?
Whatever one I'm involved with afterwards I leave here.
And what opportunities?
Sporting opportunities, but with the opportunities that we provide the youth and whoever in the community that works for the professional organization, the high schools, whatever they're involved in, not only what they're doing, but the experiences that they get out of it. Because a lot of the times when we have youth or student athletes in a type of situation, it's not only that they're participating in that, but they're getting away from whatever's going on at home, and maybe in the community, or whatever's going on in the world at the time.
Okay, give me an example.
Okay. No, honestly, so I had I taught high school for 4 months. Before I came here, I'm originally from Tampa. I was there for the past 5 years at USF, and I was at Guertin High School, and I had a student, which I won't name, but his mother was terminally ill, and he was a very successful golfer, and that is what, when he came into the classroom, he was all about golf. He was like the most upbeat kid in the world, and you would never know what was going on in his life outside of school. So when he was in school, he just wanted to be another kid. He wanted to talk about golf. He wanted to make sure that his name was announced on the PA system, and that's what made a difference in his life. And anything I could do to facilitate golf, talk to him for like maybe it's 30 seconds to 5 minutes when he comes in the classroom, just saying, hey, how you doing? Hey, how'd you do this weekend for golf? Here's his name, just acknowledging that like he had some accomplishments over the weekend, I'm sure would hopefully make a difference.
And so what positions will you be looking for?
So hopefully something within, obviously I want to do something with managerial like experience, but I'd love to be anything from community development, player development, and coaching, because I've also been involved with lacrosse and hockey.
Okay. I want to stop you for a moment because you've done a nice job. He wins the pen, so everybody give him some applause here, okay? Let me just challenge your thinking for just a minute about, obviously I want to be in management, okay? That's not obvious for everybody, okay? Just because there are management positions doesn't mean that you should have one. You may be very happy in selling for 20, 30 years. It's really okay not to want to be the boss. And I just want everybody to understand that. Most of the people that I work with, most of the people who interview, let me grab this for you. Always seems to be throwing it right at you. I don't know why. Most of the guys that I talk to that are frustrated with the interview process that they do is they say, you can't believe that I'm going to shoot myself in the head. And if I hear one more person say, I've been a fan of the team since I was 6 years old, as the reason that they want to come to work for the team, please don't say that. The challenge is, and please don't say, I want to be general manager of this team. Or I want your job. Well, where are you going to start? What are you willing to do in order to make that happen? That's really what the role is. We want this big, big goal. We want you to have big, big goals. And GM is not a bad goal. In fact, it's a very good one. But how do you plan on beginning to learn what it takes to be a GM? That's what people want to know. They want to know what you're willing to do. I want you to think on that, and maybe that, as you begin to do some chatter here with the people that you're going to come in contact with, maybe have some, starting points in mind, rather than simply wanting to be the boss in 6 months. And I'm just going to say this, and I don't mean to say this negatively, okay? Your generation takes a pounding, okay? I don't think it's deserved. I think it's somewhat misunderstood, and I think those who are in hiring positions believe that the kind of work that you're doing isn't the same as the kind of work they're doing, and so they don't get you, okay? It doesn't mean you're not vital, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing or saying what you're saying. It just means that we, as hiring managers who are a little older, are gonna have to figure you out a little more difficultly. We gotta navigate this thing. But all of you have value, but you have to show it. There has never been a better time, in my opinion, to be working in professional sports. Or in any sports. I say professional, please understand it's collegiate athletics and a lot of other pieces to it, okay? There's never been a better time. Because the opportunity that presents itself has never been more robust. It's not gonna be huge pain, but the chance you have to find out what it's like has never been better. And you do not have to be hired thinking that you're gonna be there for 30 years, okay? They do not issue balls and chains on the first week on the job, okay? They know that you'll be there a few years and hopefully move up or move on. It's really okay. The statistics will show that you'll have over 10 jobs by the time you're 34. You know that, right? We get it. Don't think that everybody needs to be the manager. Do really well at whatever you're asked to do, but here's the general direction I'm good at. This is what I enjoy doing. This is what I have found my bliss to be. And I'd like to be able to apply that in whatever way would forward the company. Are we all right with an answer like that? I'll tell you, that's what the hiring manager is looking for. That's all I'm saying. Now, don't just go